Hello there whippersnappers and welcome back. Today we're here at Graygarden as promised, and it certainly is very grey. This of course is part 2 of our Commonwealth justice system. This is our prison, so let's go and take a look around. So we're here at the other end of the train tracks today, just over this bridge. In the distance is our Oberland court, so it's a short walk over the bridge by Minuteman escort if you get sentenced to some time here. Sort of an imposing structure looming over the river. Now, much like the court, this is a new system. In future it might need to be expanded. Perhaps this will become a wing of the prison rather than the whole prison. But we're not really sure if it's going to catch on yet, so it is what it is. Now, Abe has left this greenhouse pretty much as it was. These robots take great pride in their plants. They were so pleased, though, that Abe helped them out with the water situation that they've allowed him to have a little tinker and update their protocols. So they're now also pretty good at supervising prisoners. If any of the prisoners are particularly well behaved and not so dangerous, they can actually come in here out on good behaviour, do a bit of gardening, and then these can be shipped out by our provisioner robots to the other settlements that might be a bit short of food. So that works quite well. Okay, let's be a bit brave. Take a look inside. This door really ought to be shut. So as you come in, you get scrubbed of your rads, any parasites or lice or anything disgusting from the wasteland. This device will also scan you for any weapons or anything. That'll flag up on the computer screen there. So here we have Graham. He's in charge around here, something of a prison warden, I suppose. Now he's one of our best and most dependable Minutemen. Very responsible, very reliable. Not too hot-headed either. Firm but fair approach. So I think first of all we'll go and look up here, which is the guards domain. So it's fairly open, good visibility, good defences. And then the guards have each got these little barrack areas. They don't have to live here full time, they sort of work here on shifts, maybe a couple of weeks at a time. I mean, by wasteland standards, it's not really that bad. There's a roof over their heads and a safe place to sleep. They've obviously got somewhere to keep their personal effects, anything for entertainment when they're having a break, and they can shut themselves in securely when they have a sleep. But I don't think anyone would want to live here full time, would they? And then in this corner they've got a small canteen. They can't all go on a break at the same time, so it doesn't need to be gigantic. But they're well stocked for food, and they can serve it hot. Okay, I think maybe we should meet some of our guards.
Yes.
Right, I think we'll get this one out of the way first. So over here we've got Greg, and quite frankly, Greg is just a liability.
Yeah?
He thinks a bit too much of himself. He refuses to wear the proper uniform. He refuses to use the proper weapon. We think he'd quite like Graham's job. He seems to be overcompensating for something. I mean, why is he dressed like a transformer? Does he not know he looks ridiculous?
Huh?
But, yeah, we're a bit short on staff at the moment. So we really just have to make do with whoever will put themselves forward. Thankfully over here we've got Tina. She's a ray of sunshine, she's lovely. She's got the good cop routine absolutely nailed. She can be stern if she needs to be, but she keeps morale up around the place. And then quite the opposite over here, we have got...
Hi, how are you?
That was an uncharacteristically nice greeting. This is Bertha. She's usually very grumpy. She doesn't really like anyone, she doesn't like being here. So I think we'll move on before we upset her. And then this character, he might look familiar, and that's because he is Hank's brother. So this is Frank. Now, Hank got the brains of the family, Frank got the brawn. Yeah, definitely not so much brains. But no, Hank thought his brother might be quite good here, and to be fair, he's good at following orders. He is quite a good guard when he's not walking into walls. So he's actually got these 3 posts up here to supervise if anyone ever did try and make a run for it.
Huh?
And then they've just got somewhere here to make sure their weapons are in tip-top condition. So, with that, I think we need to be a bit brave. And we need to go and meet the prisoners now, don't we?
Huh?
So it's all pretty secure here. We've got this switch which shuts the prisoners into their individual cells overnight or for any other purpose. Now this door only opens from here on the outside. Hopefully Graham will keep an eye out or shut the door behind us, one of the two. So coming in here we've got our sort of solitary confinement if anybody's particularly badly behaved. And then all of the cells are much the same. Now, you could argue that this isn't actually that bad, considering they live in the wasteland. They've got a dry bed, a toilet, and somewhere to sit down. But, yeah, a small privacy screen when the toilets are side by side, but if you want complete privacy, then behave yourself better, basically. They're certainly missing out on some of our nicer settlements, that is for sure. And then we've got these sort of smarmy and slightly patronising posters in the hopes of inspiring them to reform their characters.
It's kind of relaxing.
The power cycle ain't all bad.
And in here we've got Supervisor Brown. He's actually really taken to his new prisoner guard protocols, so he hovers around in here snipping menacingly, making sure everybody stays in line. We won't want to be on the pointy end of those shears.
It smells, but, well, in a good way.
Is this what the old
And our prisoners here are put to good use. So we've got a modified generator, and what they're doing really is charging up batteries which can be used for power in our other settlements. So first up,
It smells, but,
we've got
well,
Josie.
in a good way.
Now she's actually not that bad. She's often in the greenhouse helping the robots. All she really did was start a bar fight at the cornhole, and Shotgun Sam didn't take too kindly to that, so she's serving a little bit of time. Next up we've got Ollie. Once again, he's not very dangerous. He just tried to rob the settlers of Sanctuary. If he'd have only asked, they'd have probably given him as much food as he wanted and probably somewhere to come and live, but maybe he'll learn his lesson.
The power cycle
And then this
ain't all bad.
horrible character is Wes. And this is the chap that Heather was trapped with. And we're not going to even glorify him with much of a story.
Yes?
Horrible old man.
Kind of relaxing.
Now don't be fooled by their sweet exterior. These are the twins, and they are just a pair of the most depraved criminals we've ever seen. They make Pikmin look like a children's entertainer. I'm not going to go into too much gory detail, because it's just going to be disgusting. Nobody wants to hear about that. But they're going to be in here for a long time. So the prison's actually nearly full.
Yeah?
This is all the prisoners have got for entertainment, and it appears one of the benches is haunted.
It smells, but,
So yeah,
well, in a good way.
fairly basic digs down there. Hopefully they'll be able to rejoin society. Sorry if there's a bit of a jump there, I had a crash. Right, shut everyone back in safely. And then I think we'll shut that as well. It's not supposed to be left sitting open all of the time. So there. There's our little prison. I think as usual we'll just go and have a small snooze. Take a look
Yes?
in the dark. There we go. So the spotlights here are rather effective. There's not really much peace for the prisoners down below, but they certainly can't be getting up to any mischief. There's really good visibility, even in the night time, for the guards up here.
Huh?
Looks like one of our robot provisioners has come back to collect some more fresh veg and fruit.
Yes.
A bit of a dingy corridor, but that's all the better for seeing into the courtyard there. Graham's being uncharacteristically slack. There. All safe and secure for the night. I think we'll leave them to it there because those guards have got a long night shift ahead of them. So we'll just head out this way.
Thank you again for all your help, darling.
Here we go. We'll just take the stairway to heaven. That's not very realistic, is it? But there is a good view from up here. Especially those spotlights sweeping all around. What do you think? Will it catch on? Will we need to expand? Okay, real talk time once again. Now, this is another slightly smaller and slightly earlier build. There's probably too much information, but I actually built this as I was coming out of the first stomach bug of my adult life. It was a living hell. So I think this repetitive grey, slabby monstrosity was a reflection of what was going on at that point in time. It was also, I just watched all those School Zone videos while I was poorly, and I wanted to learn the Wi-Fi glitch properly, and I do find repetition is a good way for things like that to stick. So everything in here really is wirelessly controlled. All of the doors. Yeah, if we just go into the workshop, we could bring this out and try and get a better angle. So all of the cell doors are linked up to this switch, so this is essentially their power source. If I can actually hit the switch. There, and they all open and close at the same time when you hit that. Try and get a better angle. Can't really see them all at once because it's a bit confined in here. There isn't really a good angle. And then... Oh. Okay, I hit the wrong button. Okay. You just have to trust me. All the doors open and shut at the same time. There we go. That was a bit better. So yeah, I think the only wire is really just for the concept of the prisoners being put to work. That's attached to the bikes and the generator.
Well, in a good way.
I don't come here very often. I mean, honestly, just the sound of those snipping shears make me feel slightly ill now.
Yeah?
Yeah. The main reason I had in mind to build a prison, actually, story aside, you know how I like to build stories around settlers. I like to have settlers that fit the story. I just kept getting sent clone after clone after clone, and it was always the opposite of what I needed. If I wanted somebody older, I'd get somebody younger. If I wanted somebody haggard, I'd get like a pretty young lady with a ponytail. One interesting thing, though, is that Graham was actually a small sort of female character that looked like a grasshopper when I sent the NPC here. And then when I came back another time, the model had changed, and I think the same with Josie. I believe she was the same as Ollie when I sent her here, so that was another pair of clones. The twins have stayed the same. I've never had any other NPCs change to different character models before. I don't know, has anyone else had that happen?
If you're looking to trade, then let's make a deal.
So architecturally, it's fairly repetitive.
Hi, how are you?
wasn't too much going on here that's very interesting. These pillars, they were just put in with a garden plot so the roofs could be lower down. I don't know what you'd call these architecturally. I'm sure somebody clever might have the answer. I really should have learned that myself, but I've overlooked that. But yeah, these pillars, they didn't want to sink into these floors. So I think these are the concrete floors. And then... so the concrete roofs they actually will sink into. So no garden plots needed here. Greg being mystified that I can just pick up a concrete pillar. Yeah, no sinking into these actual floors. And the roofs, I can't even remember why, but the roofs wouldn't quite fit all the way around in the same way. But there was a lot of just nicely snapping concrete architecture here. As I said, this was mostly just an illness project and trying to learn the Wi-Fi glitch for future usefulness. Yeah, it's fairly basic build, this one. Another slightly earlier one. I think we've got one more early build after this. It's slightly more advanced than this one, and it's got some quite cool stuff that I'm excited to share. But then after that, we get onto the really cool stuff where I felt like I'd actually really got the hang of settlement building. So we put this one in for the story. Things will get a bit exciting from here on out. So I think that's all there is to look at here today. If you've enjoyed this, then do consider a thumbs up. If you haven't already, then please subscribe. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and until next time, goodbye for today. Bye bye!